Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about mental health and if museums can actually play a role in healing and in supporting mental health. I think as we become more and more aware of the health benefits of cultural places and museums are also stepping up in some surprising and sometimes powerful ways. And it's wonderful to see museums really engage in that social role and discovering the power they have there. And I wanted to explore a little bit how museums can support mental health and why this is actually more important than ever now. As always, if you like the content of these videos, please subscribe to the channel, add your comments below and like the video. And let's dive into some aspects of this. I also wanted to add a few ideas and thoughts of my own with regards to how museums can create mental health and also physical health programs for the future. So there's quite a bit to discuss here, and as always, I would love to hear your comments as well. Let's have a look at this. So first of all, I think mental health matters more than ever now because people need spaces that offer reflection, connection, and also a calmness. I think we talk a lot about therapy, self-care, mindfulness, and so on. But what if museums are a part of that toolkit naturally, not just as a nice add-on, or an extra, but something that is just naturally there, that we naturally turn to museums. I think, first of all, museums are calm, reflective places. There are already lots of mental health benefits here: reduced stress, sensory calm, slow engagement. We have quiet galleries, contemplative environments, beaches, gardens, calming lighting, and so on. So there's already a good space for this. Museums can stimulate awe, curiosity, and flow. Mental health benefits around this is that it promotes positive emotions, engagements, distraction from intrusive thoughts. We have immersive exhibitions around this, art, storytelling. This state of mental flow, as is the psychological term. So being absorbed in a task or a moment is something museums can really contribute with. There are also programs designed specifically for mental health. It creates a social connection, an expression, a confidence. We have art group therapies, we have dementia-friendly tours, prescribe a museum or social prescribing initiatives, nature and culture walks, mindful gallery tours. Also this concept of slow looking is part of this movement, and mindful museum practices. Create expression opportunities, examples like sketching activities, journaling corners, drawing, creative workshops. The mental health benefits around this is really to promote and support self-understanding and playfulness. And also, I guess, a release, especially for people with anxiety. There's a social connection and belonging, the sense of belonging as well, which is so important. I think especially in times where we battle loneliness. Museums are places to be together without pressure. They are inclusive spaces where you don't need to perform or to deliver anything, as we often need to do, for example, in busy work environments. Museums have cafes, group visits, volunteer opportunities, safe spaces, and so on. They are incredible spaces for social connection and creating a sense of belonging. I think mental health needs to be part of a museum's mission. There is a growing awareness of museums' social roles, and this is something that we as museum professionals really need to be active around. They can partner with health services, with schools, with therapists, and so on. I think there's also going to be a need for training of staff in, for example, trauma-informed and inclusive practices. And museums can, if they really want to engage in this, they can be proactive in breaking a lot of stigma around this. So I think this is a really, really important role that museums can play in the future. And I think it's also worth noting that, you know, a museum visit might not solve everything, but it can offer a moment of peace and perspective, of reflection and of connection. And I think sometimes it's worth remembering that maybe that's all we need in a busy world sometimes. Now, I wanted to dive into a few ideas where museums can really support mental health in the future. And I think some of the things and the ideas that I play around with right now, and I have been involved in a few projects trying to promote this, are some of these. First of all, sensory sanctuaries and galleries. So creating one small room or gallery as a dedicated low stimulation space, soft lighting, seating, calming scents, ambient sounds or silence for that matter, artworks chosen for the calming visual qualities. The purpose really is to create a quiet retreat for overwhelmed visitors, neurodivergent guests, or anyone needing a mental breather. And this is something that can really offer a reflective perspective. You can also have journaling stations or art response prompts in sanctuaries like these. I also love the idea of mental health museum trails. I've created a few of these myself, and I love doing it. It's kind of a self-guided trail through an exhibition with psychological well-being prompts tied to specific exhibits. So, you know, like pause here, what is this object, what in this object connects to your personal journey, for example. It can be printed, it can be an app, it can be an audio. And it's kind of like a mindfulness trail in nature, but adapted for a cultural space. It can be outdoor, but it can also be adapted for an indoor space. The cultural prescription toolkit is something that we already see. Local GPs or therapists are already using this. I'm going to show you an example in a moment. But this is where museums collaborate directly with healthcare professionals to offer tailored visit experiences to patients. For example, an afternoon of calm, creative reconnection, memory walks for early dementia, that kind of thing. And museum staff can easily co-develop gentle orientation material or even a museum buddy kind of system for this. Create grief and loss workshops, where museum host themed evenings using historic objects, artworks or personal storytelling to explore grief, legacy or remembrance. I think museums already deal with a lot of memory, loss and meaning making. They are very natural settings for this. It could be easy to create memory collages, object-inspired writing, gentle group conversation, that kind of thing, or simply have groups supporting grief and people who have experienced loss just happening in the museum as a space would be wonderful. And I think museums really have an important role to play here as well. We also have intergenerational well-being days. Bring together elders, young people and caregivers for shared activities like object handling sessions, storytelling circles, music sketching and so on. This doesn't just combat loneliness, it also promotes empathy between generations. I talk about bringing generations together in another video, so do go and check that out. But it can be really beneficial for us just to engage with different generations and other people who have different perspectives on the world. Art while you wait zones, so small art making stations in lobbies or cafes for people to doodle, color, write or play creatively while waiting. So this is a passive creativity that reduces stress and invites quiet interaction, especially helpful for nervous visitors or those with social anxiety. We know that the moment we sit down and do something with our hands, like engage in a needlework or drawing or something, there is just a calmness that kind of gets to us in a way. So the moment you are engaged in a physical activity, doing something, creating something, painting something, producing something, something happens inside our brains. Mobile mindfulness exhibitions, a traveling mini exhibition that brings calm, immersive experiences to, for example, schools, care homes or hospitals. Think slow visuals here, soothing sounds, reflective stories. It's portable, it's tactile, and it's multisensory. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if museums could actually play an active role in getting their stories to people who cannot go to the museum? Digital journaling companion, so a mobile app that lets users log reflections or moods linked to artworks they encounter, for example, or artifacts they encounter. It could offer insight after visit, so your reflections show themes of resilience and transformation. And I think that's something that would be fairly easy to do. I know a lot of people use apps already and maybe feel it's a bit overwhelming, but there are also lots of calming mindfulness apps out there that's pretty successful, and the museums have an opportunity of really tapping into this, I believe. Healing History's Story Booth. So a small private recording booth where visitors can reflect on how they have overcome challenges in life, inspired by an object or a theme in a museum, a discussion perhaps. This could be anonymously shared with permission in future exhibitions, but it could also build a collective resilience. I think something happens when we share our story as well, and we have become used to sharing on social media and so on. We share our successes, we share our ups and downs in life, and we don't always have to put our names to it, but we often find that a lot of people have overcome the same challenges in life and have a great understanding for what it is we've been through. But we often feel embarrassed about sharing, especially our downs. We don't feel so embarrassed about sharing successes, but when we have experienced a hard time, I think a lot of us kind of put a lid on it and try to keep it in, and that's not always healthy from a mental perspective. I think a lot can be said for quiet hours and mental health first aiders as well. This is quite a regular quiet hours for visitors who prefer low stimulation visits, and you can have trained staff available to support people in distress or crisis. That would be an absolutely wonderful thing for museums to be able to offer this as well. I wanted to highlight just a few museums and spaces that have dived into some of programs or initiatives to promote mental health, and there are lots of examples from around the world already. I just want to mention a few. This is one from Denmark in the Old Town Museum in Aarhus, where they have a memory apartment, a house of memory as they called it, which is literally an apartment with that's designed with interior from, I think, the 60s and 70s, 60s probably, and you can touch, you can engage in activities, you can sit and sing together, as you see in the top left corner there people are doing. You can smoke the pipe, you have ingredients in the kitchen cupboard there in the bottom right corner, with brands that was typical of a Danish apartment at the time. And scents is such a wonderful memory trigger, especially for people who might struggle cognitively with expressing what they do and what they think and feel. People in early stages of dementia especially, sometimes they can't really say what they do or what they want to do, but their hands can still remember to do the needlework or the crossword puzzle or whatever it is. So being able to sense, smell, touch, taste and so on are incredible memory triggers, and you can really see them sort of come to life during a visit like this. It's a wonderful thing. There are other museums as well that have that kind of thing going on. I just want to mention a few museums that actively engage in mental health initiatives. I think the most obvious one is probably the Bethlehem Museum of the Mind in London. If you have an opportunity, I would urge you to go see it. It's located within the Bethlehem Royal Hospital, and it focuses on the history of mental health care and features artworks by artists who have experienced mental health issues. The museum sort of serves as a platform to challenge stigma and foster understanding of mental health through art. There are also, I have to say, some disturbing moments in their permanent exhibitions, especially about how mental health has been treated throughout history. It hasn't always been pleasant, the way we have gone about treating what was known as insanity back in the day, but it's really, really insightful and absolutely mesmerizing and inspiring to have a look at. I also wanted to mention the initiative of arts prescriptions in Neuchâtel in Switzerland. This was a pilot program that allowed doctors to prescribe free visits to local museums and botanical gardens for patients with mental health challenges. The initiative aims to promote physical activity and improve residents' well-being. I think a lot of places have now sort of taken this up, but it's a wonderful initiative and something that's worth following, especially as the results start to come out. The Montreal Museum of Fine Arts had this wonderful program called Sharing the Museum. It's offering free access to educational programs through guided tours and creative art workshops. The initiative aims to make the museum more relevant and meaningful in people's lives, particularly those coping with mental health and physical health problems as well. And if I remember correctly, I think this one has actually been going on for quite a long time. So that's really rather impressive, but do have a look at that one as well. The Holborn Museum in the UK developed a program called Pathways to Wellbeing, which promoted mental health and well-being through creativity using the museum's collections and exhibitions. And it provides visitors with safe and supportive museum-based creative sessions, so aiding in developing new skills and improving self-confidence. And I do believe this was collaboration actually between quite a few museums, but really interesting as well. Now, I've kind of mentioned this a little bit with the Old Town Museum in Denmark, but I just wanted to mention the National Museums in Liverpool as well. They had a wonderful program called House of Memories, which provides dementia awareness training for professionals and offers memory resources, activities and events. And it kind of equipped participants with practical skills and knowledge to facilitate a positive quality of life experience for people living with dementia. And I think as more and more people and more families experience dementia, this becomes especially important in the future. And then finally, I just wanted to mention the Welcome Collection in London, a wonderful place as well. I can only urge you to go and see. They have some amazing exhibitions. And what I really love about this place is that they're not afraid to dive into the sometimes challenging and also disturbing conversations around both physical and mental health. They don't have problems addressing those stigma and also sometimes the nervousness we feel in different situations in life, even situations where we ought to be happy about something like a pregnancy or parenting, which is a happy occasion, of course, but there are usually nerves around that kind of thing, you know. Situations like menopause, different kind of stages we go through in life. They have a wonderful events program as well. And some incredible temporary exhibitions. So I can only recommend visiting, and they very much know how to play around with senses and activating your senses as well. It's a wonderful place and definitely worth a visit too. Have you ever found a comforting or healing moment in a museum or in a heritage site? What was it? Was it something that was created perhaps? Was it something that maybe just happened because you were in a particularly state of mind? And do you think museums can play an active role in this? And if so, how? Do you have any examples to share yourself? It would be absolutely lovely to hear from you. I think it's important that we keep addressing this and that we keep seeing museums and as more than just cultural places for learning or places for immersing in storytelling. Museums can be so much more than that. I know that we often find ourselves in some funding challenges when it comes to creating programs and developing programs like these. And that's why I think it's so important that we keep talking about this, because the more programs we see, the easier it's also going to be to prove the benefits of this and the importance of museums and how powerful museums can be in playing a really, really central role when it comes to mental as well as physical health. As always, do share your thoughts around this.